Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Biz Talk Live Show. I am your host, Shantae Arati. We are so happy to have you back here. We hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday with all your family and your loved ones. Today, we're going to be talking with our guest, Teresa Crockett from the Sugar Bowl Creative. Again, this is a platform that we have entrepreneurs on to share their stories, share their journeys so that it empowers you and equips you to pursue your dreams and to be successful in business. So that's what we're about. So we invite you to join us. If you have questions, please post them in the comments. Please do like and share this broadcast. If there are any questions that you post in the comments that we're not able to get to during this live broadcast, we will definitely follow up after the show. So we're going to dive right in and start talking to Teresa. And Teresa, can you tell us who you are, what is your business, what do you do, and who do you serve?
Sure, thank you. Yes, so I am Teresa Crockett. My company is Sugar Bowl Creative. I started as a video production company. I've got 10 plus years of experience creating corporate videos for clients. And I'm adding to that 3 years of experience doing improv comedy, which nobody would really expect. Hey, when you go into business for yourself, do that. But that was a decision I decided to make. So I started doing by doing video productions. I do a lot of online video for people, helping people putting together their online video courses, reels for speakers, how-to videos, about page videos, different videos for manufacturers. I think I've done things for over like 100 different industries. And the reason I bring up improv is because I'm actually transitioning my business into doing video coaching services. So teaching people how to do their own video and, of course, how to get more confident on camera, because that is something that I think just does not come naturally to anybody.
Yes, and we were just talking about that offline. So I know so many people that need that we know it's important for us to have video for our business, but not everybody is comfortable with that. So definitely we appreciate you for the services that you provide. That is so great. So when did you get started? So you said you worked in corporate, you were doing this in corporate, and then when did you start?
So let me see. So I'd say I technically, I got my undergrad degree doing video production. So I would say I got my start there because I learned, all of that really heavy software and how to operate all the equipment. And, I got my first job working for a corporate company when I was in college. And then I spent 4.5 years actually working. It wasn't like a large corporate company, but it was actually like a small marketing company that was in Chagrin Falls, and it was like me and one other employee working for somebody, and I did all things video for this company, and all of our clients were a lot of the local business community as well as the travel business community.
Okay, so we were talking too about the name. I think Sugar Bowl Creative is so creative. So can you tell us a little bit about how you came up with that name?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of my friends that I met right after college, who went to the same school as me, we had been floating around an idea to we got really into cooking and like local food and developed some interest in that. And we had this idea we wanted to create a documentary about like Cleveland local food movement. And so, I had been bouncing around a couple names in my head over the years. I designed a logo for like Sugar Coated Productions and a couple other different names like that. And, just like a couple of us over wine came up with Sugar Bowl Creative, and it kind of Sugar Bowl, and then creative got tacked onto it because I wanted to keep that artistic accent on what I was doing. I don't want to make myself too, I don't want to position myself as too much of like a corporate production studio.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a lot of where it came from.
Awesome. So what is the key driving force that led you to become an entrepreneur?
I think the biggest thing was, seeing firsthand somebody else doing it and taking on as much of it as I had taken on working for somebody else. I started to realize I'm like, I have all the skill sets, aside from, I didn't have the business savvy, but I had all the skill sets to get myself moving into this. And I actually did have the entrepreneur that I had at the time. They decided to take a different route and specifically focus on websites. So that actually left me out of a job. But he did give me, he sold me his equipment and he blessed me with his clientele that he did not want to do video for anymore, and he sent me on my way. So it was really just a matter of deciding, like, I am ready to work for myself, and I wanted to set my own hours, to be perfectly honest.
Yes, I know what you mean, but that's fantastic. That they were able to help you to get a good start in your business.
Yeah.
Transferring or transitioning from working for someone else to actually working for yourself is challenging. So I try to let people know it's not as easy as people may think. Yeah, you have your skill set, but there's a lot that you have to learn that you don't necessarily know when you're thinking about pursuing entrepreneurship. So when you started, you got the help, they gave you the equipment, they gave you some startup clients. Were there any challenges that you experienced at the time that you were starting up, and between then and now, what have been your greatest challenge?
I think, and it's something that, it's a continuous process that I'm working through, but I think one of the biggest things that's my challenges, and it may sound like a small thing, but it's this huge, it can be this huge beast, and that is self-limiting beliefs. It is the narrative that we tell ourselves about what we are actually capable of doing and how we are capable of making our money. And it's really just a matter of, like, what narrative are you telling yourself on a regular basis, and what do you actually believe about what you're capable of?
I love that. I'm gonna actually share that with the audience. What narrative are you telling yourself, and that you're putting out in the world? So that is very important. So mindset is a very important for entrepreneurship. So how do you deal with that? How do you address that and overcome the challenges of, you know, having that inner voice that's telling you that, you're not good enough, or you can't do that? How are you able to overcome that?
So I would say, it's a few different things. One of the biggest tools that's helped me in the last number of years has been journaling. I journal almost every morning, try to do it for at least 10 minutes, because I notice that, the words that start coming out of my head, they may start negative, but they usually reorient themselves to positive within a few sentences these days. And it's just everything about being able to take what's in my head, what's going on in the anxiety train, and being able to put it out there. Another thing has just been community. It's who you put yourself around. So, who's your tribe? Who's holding you accountable? Who can you go to when you're struggling? And having a network of different people to be able to, really, it's like, finding people that get what you're going through. Other business owners who can be like, yes, girl, I totally get that. It's gonna be fine. Just, and then just having somebody else say, it's okay to just take a breath, take a step back from this, and just think about something else for once.
Yes, absolutely. And as you talk about community, that is so important. That's something that I talk about all the time, is that we need a support system. So what is that support system? What does that community look like for you? Who is your tribe? Who is your community that you count on to help you to keep moving forward in your business?
Yay, this is where I get to shout out and plug some of my favorite organizations. So probably the first organization that I found that I fell absolutely in love with was the Women's Business Center of Northern Ohio. They have been so instrumental in helping me stay motivated, just by having weekly trainings that I can go to and show up and talk to other entrepreneurs, even if it's not a topic I'm necessarily interested in, just to keep myself engaging with the community. I became a member of NAWBO about a year ago, and those women mean business, that like the bumper sticker on the back of my car says. They have been just so supportive, and it's really helped me see what is possible, like at that next level. And then my other community has actually been the shout out to the Hood School of Acting in Cleveland Heights. That's where I have been taking my improv classes, and I have developed a really strong community of friends through that network who have also been incredibly supportive to me through everything.
Fantastic. Yes, I know some of the ladies from NABO. It's a great organization. So what does it mean to you to be your own boss? What does that mean? That's a very popular term, but it has significance for everybody, and it's different for everyone.
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, being my own boss, I think it's first and foremost like controlling how I spend my time. For me, that has been the absolute greatest thing. It's been the greatest thing and the worst thing to happen to me, actually, because you don't realize, like, when you have full control over what you do with your time, then you do have to be the boss. You have to boss yourself around and tell yourself what to do, and that in and of itself takes time and training. But yeah, being my own boss is, making my own decisions, basically making all the decisions for how I live my life and how I make money.
Yes, I love that. Because so many times when you're in the corporate space, it doesn't allow for that flexibility. So I know for a lot of us, especially women, that means a lot to us. I know it means a lot to me. So we talked about your support community. I want to talk about relationships, because we all have relationships. So our interpersonal relationships, whether it's family, friends, colleagues, when you get into entrepreneurship, it definitely has an impact on the relationships that you have. Can you talk about how your being entrepreneur and pursuing your goals has impacted, both if it has had a negative impact, positive impact, or both, on your business and your relationships?
Yeah, I feel like it's externally, there's those moments where you're like working all hours of the night and you can't, devote time to people when you want to specifically. I'm at the point in my life now, I don't yet have, a family or a spouse or anything of that nature. So I think I have a little more flexibility than some of the other entrepreneurs we know. But I feel like it's been primarily positive because I can see the influence that me following what I want to do and telling all of these people that I love, like, hey, I have a dream. This is what I want to do with my life. And having them, first of all, I have incredibly supportive parents. I have incredibly supportive friends. All of the people that I've told I'm going to do this, they have responded in a very positive way to it. And then they've also, I've had a number of people tell me, like, that what I'm doing is an inspiration to them and what they want to try doing. I love being able to, give people tips and ideas and, like, hey, if you're interested in going into entrepreneurship, like, here's this resource, this resource, this resource. I would love to, like, help you through the door. And then also just meeting other business owners and developing, like, some really strong bonds and friendships, through them as well. If I never would have gone into business for myself, there's a number of people that I cherish that I never would have met.
Absolutely. And so what does support look like for you? What does it mean for you to be supported? So if you have your family and your friends and your network, how important is that, and what does that look like for you? What type of support keeps you going?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, support can be anything from someone someone willingly sharing one of my posts to their network, that's, you know, that's a huge thing to me. You know, I've had friends like offer to let me borrow their equipment to use. I've had people offer to, you know, help me out, take some photos for me. Even just, you know, meet with me over coffee for an hour and talk through some challenges that I'm having. A lot of it is just like emotional, really emotional support. Being able to have other people reaffirm that you've done scary things before. This thing you're doing, this entrepreneur thing, is a scary thing. So the next scary thing is also doable to you. And that's been a big thing for me, especially right now as I'm transitioning into basically another type of service.
Okay, so can you still hear me, Teresa?
Yes, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, there was a little delay, so I can hear you now.
Okay.
Okay, great. So what motivates you on a daily basis? Because we know with entrepreneurship, like you said, it's a big risk. It can be scary. We have many challenges that we have to overcome in our businesses. So, and there's times that we get discouraged. So what motivates you to continue to pursue your passion?
Honestly, what motivates me is conversations like, sorry, there's a little delay stopping me up. Conversations like this, because it allows me to engage about, first of all, I get to hear about, you know, your why, which fuels me. Like hearing other entrepreneurs' whys is a big fueler for me, because my job is to help them get that out there, you know, like let's take your why and let's record it, basically.
Right.
So that's, you know, that's a huge motivator for me, as well as, you know, when I have these conversations with people, having them tell me something that I can actually help them with, where they talk about, you know, how scary it is to record themselves, and how, you know, how camera shy they are, how many challenges they have regarding technology or things where I'm like, oh, I got this. I can help you. I can provide services that are in what you need, you know, or, you know, I want to be speaking full time, but I don't have something to show. Oh, I can help you create that. You know, it's just having a conversation with somebody where I discover I can solve their problem. That's a huge motivator for me.
Since you talked about shyness, and we talked about this before, again, because doing live video is so important to businesses and getting that visibility. And I think building your influence, especially in the online space. What would be some tips that you would offer people that are just getting into it, or that are already doing videos, but they're kind of hesitant to do so, to get over that shyness and nervousness about being on camera?
Sure. So the absolute first thing that I always recommend to somebody who's new or somebody who's trying to get back into it, that I do with myself, is just take a moment to do a 1-minute stream of consciousness recording on your phone. You don't even necessarily, you know, give yourself 24 hours if you have a hard time watching it before you review it. But just start recording on your phone and just talk at it. And once you do that, you watch it back a little bit. Yeah, you might say, oh my gosh, this is terrible. But it's just that little bit of a jump that you need. If you can get yourself like making those, like the more throwaway videos you can get yourself making, I like to call them like, you know, sketchbook videos, or like, you know, you're just doodling, you know, you're just getting your thoughts out there. Nobody has to see it. But it's also, I also recommend that you do get yourself a little bolder and send that video to somebody that you trust, somebody that you love, somebody who's going to give you some good honest feedback before you're ready. If you want to jump into live video and, you know, that's terrifying to you too, I would say, you know, like I did with my first live video, I told nobody about it. I didn't tell a single soul about it. I just went live and I just talked for about 10 minutes, maybe 1 or 2 people tuned in. But guess what? I mean, 50 people have watched it on the replay, so it gets views. But it just kind of, you know, got me a jump start to get out there. Now, actually scheduling it and putting out there, you know, obviously is also another great way to hold yourself accountable that, well, I told everybody I was going to do this at 1 p.m. tomorrow, so I better do this at 1 p.m. tomorrow or it's going to happen.
That's so true. That's what I do. So I know that to be true because then it's out there. Yep. Then you have to hold yourself to it.
No trick that we can give ourselves to be like, oh, but I promised.
Right. Exactly. Very good tips. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you if you had an opportunity to start over from the beginning, what is one thing that you would do differently?
Oh gosh, I'd ask for help sooner. I went so long feeling like almost embarrassed to ask for help because I felt fraudulent. Like if I, you know, and it's not like I'm fraudulent regarding video production. I know what I'm doing. But yeah, when it comes to like strategy and planning and marketing and some of these other things, I'm not the best at it. And I needed to find, you know, I at least I knew early on that I needed to find community. But it was another thing to start actually actively asking that community for help. And assistance, and help comes where you ask for it. It really does. like people are very supportive. People wanna help.
Right. That is so important to ask for help. So she just talked about how that was a challenge for her, and that we talked about that on another broadcast that I did, and I constantly say that don't be afraid to ask for help. There's help out there. Don't expect that you're going to be perfect. You know, we all have our core competencies. We all have our strengths. You're not going to be strong in everything. That's where you need to know where you're weak at and fill in those gaps. So understand that we're all in the same boat. We all need help in some area of our life and in our business. So I always tell people that the earlier you can get the help, the better off you're going to be. So don't be afraid to ask people for help. So that's very good. So what I wanted to ask you next is, how would you define success? What does success look like for you?
Oh, that's a great question, because success is a completely different thing for every person. And I discovered for myself that success isn't necessarily in the monetary earnings. It can be in certain ways, but for me, success, honestly, so like moving forward in the next year, success for me would be if I only had to sit at my computer like 2 days a week, but I was still racking in the money. And that I was able to take a month off in July. Basically, it's a lifestyle choice, you know, like being able to balance my life in whatever way I see necessary for where I'm at, and being able to tailor my business to support me and not the other way around.
Yes. I'm right there with you. I feel like you're my twin sister. Yes, I think that's what a lot of us want. We want that time freedom. We want that life freedom. But we're working hard in the beginning. That's where you're putting in a lot of the effort. So know that if you put the work in, it's definitely going to pay off and get you where you want to be, so that you can have more time freedom and financial freedom. So definitely appreciate that. With that said, you already expressed your definition of success. What is some advice, recommendations, tips that you would give entrepreneurs to help them be successful in business?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it goes back to being able to, assess your strengths from your weaknesses, own up to what you're not good at.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a matter of, doing the research and going out there and, networking until you find people that can help support you in those ways that you're not necessarily the strongest.
Absolutely. So what ways do you network? Because that's another area of challenge for a lot of entrepreneurs, is really getting out there, networking, understanding what to do, where to go.
Oh, I love this question. I
Yeah.
love this question because I am an introvert.
So am I.
Talking to me, but I am a total introvert. Doesn't mean you don't like people. It just means you need to recharge alone.
Right.
But I am not a happy hour networking person. If you take me to a bar and you give me a glass of wine and expect me to talk to a bunch of random strangers, I'm going to fall asleep or I'm going to completely tune out because it's too loud.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to find for myself, I find educational networking to be the most advantageous, going to, a one-day seminar, a workshop, any type of like seated classroom style event that is, there's, what to expect when you get there. And there's some structure to it. I like a little bit more structure when I do networking. I like learning too. I'm a lifelong student, so I'm always going to gravitate towards the classroom. And I love that there are so many different types of networking out there that you could possibly do.
Yes. Yes, I'm glad that you said that. So see, people, there's so many different ways, and do what works for you. So not every situation works for everyone. Like she said, like me, just getting together with someone on a virtual coffee and chat, or a local coffee and chat meeting one-on-one, that's how I work best. And also, like you said, in those educational settings, because I'm like a constant learner. So that's optimal for me. So find what works best for you. But the point is to get out and network, meet people, build relationships.
Find an organization. Find an organization that you feel comfortable at. I know I got really good advice when I started out to just go and try a couple different organizations. Don't go at it like you're trying to sell. Go into it and just feel it out with your gut. Does this room feel right to me? Do these conversations feel good? Does this atmosphere feel like someplace I want to be?
Absolutely. So get out and network. So important for your business. Okay, so I have one final question for you. If you had a magic stick and you had the ability to change one or two things in the world, what would that be?
Oh gosh. Gosh, if I could change one thing in the world, it would be that everybody would advocate for their own personal responsibility. I see, I feel like a lot of problems stem from the need to offset responsibility and blame others for things, when it honestly just solves absolutely nothing other than maybe deferring your own discomfort for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so accountability is so important in life and business. It'll get you a lot further. Personal responsibility. So remember that, people. So thank you so much.
They're human, and being human is relatable.
Yes, yes. And don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Okay, people.
I like to say with being on camera, learn to own your awkward.
Yes, yes. We all have our awkwardness. That's why, again, you do not have to be perfect to be an entrepreneur, to go into business. But what you do is you want to be constantly seeking information and being learner, opening up to learning, being open to change, to improving, because no matter how successful you are in business, there's always room to improve. Things are ever changing in the world and in business. So there's always opportunities to improve in your business. So I want to thank Teresa Crockett for coming on. Teresa, if you can just remind people about what you do and where they can contact you if they need your services.
Yeah, absolutely. So my company is Sugar Bowl Creative. I do video production as well as other video coaching, consulting, workshops, and webinars. And you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Sugar Bee Creative. And then my website is sugarbowlcreative.com.
Awesome. And after this show, we will also leave her information in the comments so you can have access to that. If you were not able to join our live broadcast, this broadcast is available on our page, Biz Talk Live Show, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, along with other valuable videos that we have on entrepreneurship and owning a business. So we thank you so much for tuning in. You have been tuned in to the Biz Talk Live Show, where we broadcast live every week on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We love to have you as a guest. So if you are an entrepreneur and you have a story that you want to share that is going to help inspire and empower entrepreneurs, we want to have you on to our show. So we invite you to apply online at www.intuitiveriskmanagement.com. Fill out that application, send it in. We do have some openings in December, and we'll be filling spots for the upcoming year in January. So we're looking forward to that. Again, this is the Biz Talk Live Show. We thank you for tuning in. You guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you again the same time next week. Bye.